Today is April 23rd, 2025. My name is Melissa Ackerman, and I will be interviewing Linda Garner on her experiences with JFS. How are you today, Linda?
I'm great. Thanks for doing this. It's remarkable over the years how much the Historical Society has done, and you all should be very proud of yourself.
Well, we're enjoying capturing all of the JFS memories right now.
Great.
So, how did you get involved with Jewish Family Service?
Well, years ago, when I was going through a divorce, I started realizing that I thought I could not tackle a 6-year-old by myself and that we both needed therapy. But where was I supposed to go? Who do I call? And back then, going through a divorce was a shh, you don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I was going around and asking people about therapists and counselors. So lo and behold, one night I went out to get the mail, and there was a postcard from Jewish Family Service, of which I had never, ever, ever heard of. From Corsicana, there was no Jewish Family Service there, and I was young, so I really wasn't familiar with all the services that they had. But I got this postcard in the mail, and it had, if you know of anybody, yourself, whatever, that needs counseling, here's our number, and please call. So it was like that had just fallen out of the sky for me.
About what year was that?
That was about 1983.
Okay.
83.
Okay, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
And so I got up the next morning, I called, I got an appointment, I took my son in, and I will never forget, it was when Pong, the video game, had just come out, and there was a Pong machine. Couldn't quite figure that out until I realized that the reason they had that there was for play therapy, because he was busy playing and the therapist was able to get more information than just sitting in a chair like I'm
Right.
sitting now.
Right.
So anyway, fast forward, I was so impressed with the therapist, and so everything went smooth sailing. She helped me so much. She helped my son a lot. And so it got to the point that I thought, okay, now how can I give back to this incredible organization?
Okay.
So I went to it was like a little fun thing for kids, and started meeting some of the staff, and they were lovely. And I said, how can I get involved? Well, of course, JFS, they love those three words.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a meeting, and I started doing some volunteering. Well, I heard from this meeting that they were getting ready to do a little fundraiser with a bunch of women, 100 women. They only had tickets for 100, and Ethel Zale had it in the backyard of Elaine Perlman's house.
Did you know Ethel or Elaine at that
I
point?
knew Ethel from we were both on the board at Golden Acres
Okay.
at that time. So I knew, and that's when I went, and I didn't even know they were selling tickets. And the tickets, I think she had 3 left, and I begged her to let me come. I gave her my money on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
I was so inspired. Susan Lieberman spoke, but the actual speaker
Dell.
was
She's
Susan, yeah,
she's married to
Susan
Michael.
Lieberman Dell.
Okay, married to
Right.
Michael Dell. Okay.
And so um, I was just so impressed with everything that JFS was doing at the time. So after that, I called Ethel up on the phone and I said, Ethel, I said, we are the best kept secret in Dallas, and I don't want to be the best kept secret in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I said, we're going to do this again, and we're going to find a venue. We're going to have a little luncheon, and we're going to get speakers,
Mm-hmm.
and let more people know who we are and what we're doing.
Not going to limit it to 100.
We're not limiting to 100. And she says, but darling, she goes, I don't know if we can get that many more people. I said, oh yes, we can.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, well, you go find the place and we'll just work together and see what we can come up with. I said, it will be fine. So I went to Michael Fleischer and I said, okay, here's what I want to do. And he kind of looked at me like that. Are you for real? I said, it's going to be fine. And I called up the Arboretum and I said, how many people does your room hold? And they said 450. And I said, perfect. I came back and I told Ethel the room held 450 people, and I thought I was going to have to give her oxygen. She goes, there's no way we're going to get 450 people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fast forward, we sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Karen Katz, who was the CEO of Neiman's. We had Stanley Marcus's sister,
Mm-hmm.
and we had his granddaughter. And it was a lovely affair. Everybody had such a good time. And we were able to tell those 450 women all the things that we were then doing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We made, I thought, a lot of money back then,
Mm-hmm.
and for then it was a lot of money that we were able to give back to the agency after expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Ethel, and Ethel said to me, we got to keep doing this.
Was it just the two of you
It
as
was just
chair?
the two of us at
Okay.
chairs.
Okay.
At that.
And were you on the board at that point?
No,
Okay. So
I
keep
was
going.
not on the board.
Okay. So
yet.
keep going with your women's.
And so then I said, okay, where can we go for the next one? And she goes, oh, darling, I don't know. I think 450 should be our limit. I go, no, 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 no. And she gave me the confidence to say, we're going to do this. And we were having so much fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, we wanted to involve some other women
Mm-hmm.
to chair with us because, the more the merrier, and two heads are better than one. But at that time, we got 4 co-chairs. And we got the Weston Galleria, and we brought in Marley Matlin. She was in Children of a Lesser God, and she was deaf. And she brought an interpreter that was fabulous, fabulous. And you could have heard a pin drop in there. And I've always told the co-chairs from the get-go, they go, Linda, how can you stand up and do this in front of people? I said, I'm not entertaining, I'm just doing the spiel. And I said, when you look out in that audience and you see all these people and know the money that you've brought in to the agency, it's a walk in the park, because we needed money. We wanted to do lots more things that we weren't able to do because of the money.
Were you involved in soliciting a lot of that money that came in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't the only one, but
Yeah.
for sure.
Right.
But because I had to live up to Ethel,
Mm-hmm.
because if it flopped, who was it going to come back on?
Right.
And Michael Fleischer.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, she was fabulous,
She
fabulous.
was.
So then it just kind of took off from there. And
Remember how many people you were getting at that time?
at that time at the Weston, I believe we had about 750.
That's a good size event.
Yeah,
Yes.
which was really good at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And it was something that the women were looking up to. They wanted to go get a new outfit,
Mm-hmm.
and all their friends were going to be there. But when they sat down at the table and we did our program before the speaker, you could hear a pin drop, because a lot of these women, I would say probably 85% of the women in there had no idea what we were doing. Most people think, which is true, we have a food bank, we had a job resource center, we had, back then we called it geriatric services, and counseling. So most everything fit into those 4 groups. But when you talked about, we were helping with veterans, we were helping with women with cancer. I mean, there was a whole long list. We were doing everything we could, and delivering Passover baskets and high holiday baskets, and that's a big undertaking. And we helped with the hurricane from Katrina,
Mm-hmm.
which was huge, and everybody just worked together. And I truly believe to this day, the reason that we have grown and we've gotten ourselves on the map, and we still are a good secret, but our secret has now gone out and it's not a secret anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to involve then we decided this is a big undertaking, because we were doing a big silent auction, we were doing a live auction, and I can remember one year I said, let's do something different besides floral arrangements that we were selling, but let's do something different, and let's keep that money that we're spending on these floral arrangements. And it was the best. I got so many phone calls, one of which was Barbara Rabin, may she rest in peace,
Mm-hmm.
called me up that afternoon. She said, I just want to tell you how much I loved the luncheon, but the best was the centerpiece. And what we had done, we had tons of volunteers. In fact, Melissa, you might have been there, wrapping packages, just getting all different size boxes. We even had Todd Channon and in his girls wrapping packages. It was so much fun. But we said, your gift, no, your presence is our gift. And people liked that. Well, I think we spent like $6 for each centerpiece, and it was wonderful. But as time grew on, we were getting more and more people. We needed some more co-chairs, and we all worked together. We would work till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, but we were having such fun doing it, and everybody was there for a common cause, and that's what kept us going, even though we didn't have any sleep.
Well, you've done a lot of really successful events. Is there any one that stands out to you as your favorite, or?
Well, everybody would say Bette Midler was their favorite, because everybody knows Bette Midler, and she was hysterical.
Yeah.
But the night before, because we'd always set up the night before in the ballroom, and we always had our speakers come in if they were flying in the night before. And I had gone downstairs for something, and I was coming back upstairs, and I walked into the ballroom, and I see this woman with another woman. I'm thinking, like, who is this woman? And I turned around. She said, "Are you Linda?" And I was like starstruck. I said, "Yes." And she said, "I'm Bet."
Yeah.
And I'm
I
thinking,
know
like,
who
I
you
kind
are.
of know. But she said, "Please forgive me." And she was in this caftan with Old Navy flip flops on. She had she had gotten a pedicure the day before, and something happened with her toe, and it blew up. She said, "This is what I'll be wearing tomorrow, except in a different color." So she couldn't get a shoe on. I said, "Don't worry." But she had the entire ballroom up. And it was just an amazing event. The other one, I think each one of them in their own way. Diane von Furstenberg was fabulous, and Neiman's brought her in at no charge, which was amazing. And even Marlene Matlin, I mean, her life was amazing. I'm trying to think. There was there's a couple that weren't so good, and I won't name them, but it's still everybody was there and having a good time. And you know, you can't please everybody, and the people that I felt like made the biggest impact was finally we were able to get true clients that had been with the agency. And we did videos of them, showed them on the big screen, and then they came out. So there's a lot of times when you hear these stories and you kind of like, okay, but when they are up at the podium and thanking us for what we did for them, their family, whatever the situation was, and now it's time. I'm standing here because I want to give back, and it made such an impact that I had people calling me, and I don't even remember now which speaker we had paid for, but I remember I got so many phone calls, and so did Ethel, and people saying that could have been your program because it was so impactful.
You've done so many good ones. Do you remember how much was raised at the most recent one, or
Well, they
the
kind of
tops?
reconfigured how they measure
Okay.
the amount. It wasn't because now, if you're a member of Society of
Oh, that's
Life
right.
and
Okay.
different
Forgot about
things
that.
that you can,
Yeah, I
can
forgot
come.
about that.
Yeah. So they measure it differently, and I'm not sure right now. I know we way over $1 million.
That's incredible.
But
Yeah.
way over $1 million. It might have been closer to two.
That's
So
incredible. Yeah, it's
I don't know, but that's a very good question. I'm going to find out.
well, with JFS's 75th anniversary coming up this year, is there anything you would like to say just based on all your years of contributing your time and
I
energy?
always said I was the biggest cheerleader for JFS because the agency, there's always a program, there's always somebody there for you in times of need. It's a happy place. People enjoy working there. And now that we have this clinic, which has been fabulous, there's so much that it's hard to believe we can still keep going, but every day is another big program that comes in to help. I mean, our plan program, and We have the Priya-thon. There's so many different programs that we have, and I know it's not going to stop, but our heart and soul, as far as an agency, will never die. It will never die. And I just hope that the next generation will just keep it going because it's an amazing organization.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you so much,
You're
Linda.
welcome.